What's happening, everybody? It's Mike Andreula, and I'm talking to you today about hand protection. And whether you have MMA gloves or boxing gloves, you're going to have to decide, should I protect my wrist with tape? Should I use wraps? Should I use nothing? So today I have two examples. We have just a regular sports tape, and you can get this anywhere, Modell's, CVS, or hockey tape. This is fantastic for making sure the skin doesn't get ripped apart. The most common mistake is people are slicing off when they're throwing punches, ever so slightly. After 1,000 punches, you start to get a burn, and you'll be able to tell you're doing that because you'll see bruising along the inside of the knuckles right here. That means you're sliding off a little bit on your punch. So one thing you want to do is make sure your hand is striking and then coming directly back and not sliding even ever so slightly. After 1,000 punches, it's being magnified and it's giving your hand a little bit of burn. So best thing you can do is use a tape here and better technique, and I'll show you. You see a lot of people will tape their hands with their knuckles together. In my opinion, it's gonna basically keep your hand too stiff. You're not gonna be able to move at all. And if you're doing a lot of cross training and different weights, you're gonna wanna be able to flex the fingers a little bit. So I like to spread the fingers out, get a nice piece of tape, of course use the chin. It's 2 or 3 right over the knuckles. And this is provided that you have a nice pair of gloves on. Rip it off. Trust me, that's not going anywhere. This tape is phenomenal, even better than wraps for your wrist. And a lot of people strike the bag and then the wrist gets compromised, bends down, and then they sprain a wrist, or they just have a little tweak in there. So we want to keep that wrist straight, and what we're going to do is spread the finger nice and wide. I'll do it on this hand. Spread your hand nice and tight so you can't cut the circulation off. If your fingers are loose and limp, you're going to cut the circulation off pretty easily. So hands spread nice and tight. Get a nice long ribbon. You'll be able to feel it when you're doing it yourself if you're cutting off the circulation, which hopefully you won't. Just nice and tight. You'll really be able to get quite a few layers there. Tear it. Make sure it's not too tight. And right there, that is better protection than the wraps will be able to provide you, because it's not going to move at all. And if you're using boxing gloves or just bag gloves, I highly recommend this. It's taken me quite some time to develop toughness in my wrist, but if you're just starting out, this tape is unbelievable. Fantastic. The second option is a wrap. And there's a couple different style wraps. This one right here is just your traditional gauze wrap. I do prefer a Mexican style wrap, which are almost like elastic, because they'll be able to, if you're using a boxing glove, this is probably your best bet because it's going to keep everything firm. But if you're using an MMA glove, you need something that's really can contort to the hand. So it's going to look like this. We slip this. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and we'll probably show you a bunch. It's going to slide right over your thumb. What you want to do is go twice over your wrist. You always want to offset it slightly right there. You don't want to line it up exactly because it'll slip down. Offset it ever so slightly. Keep it taut. From there, I'm going to go around the palm. This one we're not going to go in between the knuckles, but in some later series we'll show you some different styles. Twice over your palm. Use the bridge of your thumb. Actually, we'll go in between the knuckles. How about that? I know that's the style now, you kids. Make sure it's nice and straight here, in between your fingers. In between the fingers, and we're kind of limited because this wrap looks like about 140 inches, which means it's not as long as one of the 180s or 220s. And then I'm just going to make it nice and neat here. Come on the inside here. Finish it up, and my last wrap is the tightest one. Spread your fingers tight, pull it across. Then you got some ultimate protection on your hand. Tape and wraps. You get a nice open palm MMA glove, possibly a boxing glove. Boxing gloves, of course, you got a lot more knuckle protection, but you're going to notice you hit the bag in the wrong spots with boxing gloves because you can hit on the small knuckles. All the impact's got to be distributed pretty evenly on the lead 2 knuckles. right there. That's the strongest part of your hand. Then the impact's going to go up through the wrist, up through your shoulder. When you hit with the smaller part of your hand or down on this part of your knuckle, that's when you sustain more injury. So just want the impact to go directly into those two knuckles, and you'll be absolutely fine, especially on your hooks. Hit and then right back. It's technique. You also have to warm up your hands. If it's dry out, it's cold, and you just come in and start hitting as hard as you can, you're going to split the skin on your knuckles. Just warm it up. Push your skin around in your fist, stretch the skin out a little bit, and you'll be able to strike a lot longer. First 5 minutes, light strikes. Don't strike hard, and then later on, you can crush it. And that's hand protection. We'll show you a bunch of different wraps. Keep on tuning in. We got great information for you.